Hey guys, welcome to USL Lifestyle, where you live your life differently. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson, and on today's episode, we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about journey when it comes to your healing, when it comes to addictions, when it comes to you just battling the thing behind the thing behind the thing. And I know that a lot of people are going through different types of addictions with loved ones and their family members. So I thought it was very appropriate to have someone themselves talk about their life story a little bit and also how it has altered and changed their future for the better. And we're also going to be talking to him about American Recovery Centers of America as well. So without further ado, help me welcome Mr. Anthony Justo to our show. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being on USL Lifestyle.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Ayesha.
You're welcome. Now, I want you to just talk a little bit about your story and your journey as you are someone who has been through, the fire, the storm of being in recovery, but also being in your healing journey as well as a person that has survived your addiction story.
I'd love to. Thank you. Yeah, so around the age of 4 or 5, probably one of my earliest memories, I can remember being in a room full of family members. I think it was Christmas. It may have been Thanksgiving, and being surrounded by folks that I've known my whole life and feeling like an absolute stranger. And that feeling of disconnect that accompanied me that day would persist for years to come. And that was really the underlying spiritual malady for me. And from a lot of people that I've talked to, they're able to relate. I never felt whole. I didn't feel like I was part of. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And that disconnect really stopped. And I was able to overcome that the first time that I used and drank. So the first time I got drunk, that feeling of disconnect kind of melted away. And I felt like I was able to relate to people. I was able to act extemporaneously. I was able to come out and play, I was able to connect with those around me. And it did everything for me that I could not do for myself. It allowed me to be somebody that I wasn't previously, and I loved the effect that it had on me. And the effect got more and more consequential over the years. It came with a bigger price to pay. Um, and I was willing to pay it because I would do anything to have that feeling. So my addiction took me down a pretty dark road. Um, Took a lot of my family members down a pretty dark road. I lost a lot of close people to me because of it while I was using with them. And it ended up taking me to jail. It ended up taking me to jail. I was incarcerated for a number of years trying to figure out what I was going to do with these charges that had been pressed on me. And finally, there was some resolution. I was able to get put onto drug court. And while in Morris County Drug Court, I was handed a number of resources, one of which was going to an inpatient rehab, one of which was going to an outpatient rehab, and then being in a sober living house where I was able to transition back into society. I met some really nice people in a 12-step fellowship that gave me a job, showed me how to live life one day at a time, showed me how it was possible to find and maintain recovery and live happy, joyous, and free at the same time. Because previously, those things were not, they were mutually exclusive. I could not have done both at the same time. And thankfully, I was connected to the right people that were put into my life at the right time. And I heard a message that really changed everything. So my sobriety date is October 9, 2013. A loving higher power separated me from alcohol that day. And I haven't had to have a drink since.
That's beautiful. And it's almost like when you were sharing your story with us, and thank you, by the way, for having so much emotional courage to be honest and truthful and tell us about your story with addiction. I think every setback is a setup for a comeback. So a lot of times we sometimes have to go through this transformational process, or a process that we wouldn't foresee is transformation at the time. But now you look back at it, you can see how the universe allowed for that transformation process for you to become the person that you are today. And it's a beautiful thing, because when a lot of people, when they hear about, people getting drug charges or they have to go to jail, that's the first thing people are like, oh, I don't want my loved one to have a criminal record. I don't want them to, because that's going to prohibit them from getting a job or going to school or whatever it may be. But you're almost like a testament, like, yeah, you did have to go be incarcerated, but look at the aftermath of it. Like, it didn't stop you from progressing. It didn't stop you from moving forward. It didn't stop you from growing. And I think that's what people need to hear. And even if you're a person who is still battling with addiction and you slipped up and you started using again and started drinking again, you can still pick yourself up and keep going. Life is about keep going, keep moving forward. We all struggle with something. Most people struggle with some type of addiction, whether it's a drug addiction, alcohol addiction, food addiction, sex addiction. These are all different types of addictions. And it's sometimes it takes that one time. It could be multiple times going through the same road, but something within that one time, kind of something just clicks, something happens, something magical, a transformation happens, and you're just in a different, I can't even explain, you're just in a different mindset, spiritually, mentally, and physically, and you never turn back into where you started from. So Anthony has been through so much stuff, because me and him have talked personally offline, and he is just a really welcome testament of someone who has gone through it and can get through it. And I believe it comes better from someone who actually has been in the trenches versus someone like myself who doesn't have a history of addictions. So yes, I could be empathetic, but I can't walk in Anthony's shoes, because that's not where I've been. But he has been there, and he's a living testament of being able to have, just the tenacity and the courage and the strength to do all the things that he has done through the strength of God on his own. And it's a beautiful testimony and story. So thank you again, Anthony, for sharing that. Do you have anything to add?
Thank you for all those kind words, Ayesha. And yeah, I think it is there is something to be said about the ripple effect, right? And I talk about that a lot with some of the guys that I help to get sober or try to help to get sober. Um, I had no idea that when I was brought to jail at that time, I thought it was the darkest, most negative time in my life. And up at that point, maybe it was, but looking back, it was probably one of the brightest points of my life too, because that set me on a very nice journey. And it was taught to me early on, if you do the next right thing, the next right thing will come. And I just kept doing the next right thing to the best of my ability. And all of these amazing things came from it. And I also believe that the same is true on the opposite side too. I think that if I do the next wrong thing, the next wrong thing will come too. And I've experienced both sides of that coin, and they're both equally as true, I would say. But now I get to be here some 9 years later, with the opportunity to help serve and to try to destigmatize this disease and this illness of addiction and mental health.
Great. And I'm glad that you said the destigmatized word, because when we look at mental health, and even especially drug addiction in the 80s and early 90s, especially in more urban cities across America, there were a lot of, as you know, Anthony, there were a lot of Black and brown people who were getting these hard time penalties for like these really, really minor drug offenses, whether it was possession or whether it was using as well. And now, the charges are not as thick as they were maybe 20, 25 years ago, and they're putting more time and more programs out there for people in not just in the criminal justice system, but also in mental health and substance abuse for people who are battling with this addiction, because it affects so many people from so many social classes, ethnic groups, religions. Addiction doesn't have any discrimination, and mental health doesn't as well. And they're both hand in hand. And at one point, I know when I was in the field, they were like separate. So, you had addiction, you would go here, and you have mental health, go here. And now they are knowing that both two and two go together. And studies have shown that like people who are depressed usually drink a lot because they're depressed, but they grow an addiction to the alcohol because this is something that they can use to make them feel better or take away the pain of them feeling those thoughts or those feelings that they're feeling. So it's good that you're doing such a great job. He is in New Jersey, the northern Jersey area. He goes throughout New Jersey, but he is really paving the just paving the way for people who are just suffering and don't have that voice, and you're that advocate for them. Especially with a lot of younger people who are doing a lot of different things, experimental drugs, especially when they're in college. And I think that should be more talked about. I mean, I know they have resource centers and campuses have their what's it called, counseling centers, but they should have more resources available for teens who may come into college with an addiction or some type of dependency, and have some type of liaison or someone there to support them on their journey while they're in that environment.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Recovery Centers of America. Tell us a little bit about what you do there. How can people also get linked for treatment? What type of insurance you take, and so forth?
Okay, yeah. So Recovery Centers of America is a full continuum of care that offers everything from detox to outpatient for substance use disorder as well as co-occurring disorder. There are some mental health programs launching, I believe, first quarter of next year. And for all of our inpatient services, we accept all major commercial insurances except for United Healthcare. And for all of our outpatient services, again, all commercial insurance and Medicaid.
Okay, great. So that's great. I'm sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
No, please finish, Ayesha.
You were saying that you're going to be launching another extension of your services in 2023, correct?
Yes.
And that's going to be is that going to be outpatient, or is it also going to be a part or affiliated with the detox inpatient program?
That will be outpatient, but it'll be, I believe, and I'll have to confirm this, but it'll be a partial hospitalization
wow.
an intensive outpatient program, and just OP, general OP.
Oh, that's great. So it's going to be a PHP, which is great because I think we need more of that. So I believe for your PHP program, you have to be at least 18 years and older to start the PHP program, right? And that's going to be for co-occurrent for mental health and substance?
Yeah, so currently we're set up for co-occurring.
Okay, cool.
This will be specific to mental health.
Oh, okay.
That struggle with mental health issues that do not use substances or alcohol.
Oh, great. So this is just going to be a PHP program just directed for mental health. That's great because we need more PHP programs for mental health, and it's hard to find those places. And the places that we do know that's in the area, they have long waiting lists. But you said that your program accepts commercialized insurances. You said Medicaid as well?
For outpatient, yes.
For outpatient, which is great. So if you have New Jersey Medicaid, or also with the managed Medicaid, so you accept those too, Anthony?
I don't misspeak. I believe so.
Okay.
But I will say, in relation, you said New Jersey Medicaid. So Recovery Centers of America has 10 campuses currently across the United States. So we have 2 in New Jersey, and we have 8 other locations We have a couple in Pennsylvania, a couple in Massachusetts, a couple in Maryland, Illinois, Indianapolis, um, and we will be launching another one in South Carolina next year, I believe.
Okay.
So each program specializes in different things as well. Some of our campuses can do extremely high methadone detoxes, which is pretty unique, as you know.
Mm.
Um, a lot of places are unable to do more than 60 milligram methadone detox. I believe we can do up to 180.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
some of our campuses are able to accept pregnant females. I believe it's up to 32 weeks. There's a whole special ultrasound that's involved in that. There's like a lot of medical stuff on the back end that needs to be done to make sure that the individual is safe. But we try to make it so that there's no barriers and that it's as accessible as to everybody that's in need.
Wow, this is great. I mean, I'm learning so much about the addiction services that y'all uh, give to people because Anthony knows I work in a hospital as well. So I didn't even know that they have even services for pregnant women who are also addicted as well. So that is a great service and I didn't know about the 10 campuses. So I'm learning a lot about your services and how I can refer other people to you guys, and also how I can get other colleagues of mine to work on a medical unit who have to deal with patients who may need addictions and they may need a certain type of place, because when you're pregnant, you're limited on where you can go when it comes to addictions, because that's it's a whole liability. But it's good to know that you have a place, you have a service for that need, for that population.
Yeah, so our founder, Brian O'Neill, his whole model is set up to make it as accessible and as affordable as possible to everybody that's in need and not compromising the quality of care. So if you or anyone were to come to any of our buildings and just look at the quality of finishes that we have there, the buildings are extremely nice. The beds are very comfortable. All the food is made fresh on site. So we don't want to hear anybody saying, "Oh, I can't go to rehab because the food stinks." We try to remove all the barriers. And with that, I'll also say, if somebody's unable to drive themselves down, and in most cases, we prefer that they don't because we offer complimentary car services, right? So, yeah, we can pick folks up and bring them to whatever location is going to be the best fit for them. And we do that for a number of reasons, but all of our drivers are Narcan certified and carry Narcan on them. In the event if somebody uses, and tries to get one last use before going to rehab, we're trained and prepared for that.
That's great. And he also will take people on a case-to-case basis who really wants rehab and they really want to get clean and they're very serious about it. And if you don't have insurance, Anthony will he will go the yard for you guys, for those who really want to get into the program, and he will somewhat get you some sponsorship to get your loved one or yourself into one of their services for recovery.
Well, that's absolutely right. Even if somebody is unable to make it to recovery centers of America, um, there's no reason why I can't help get them to the appropriate place. If folks are uninsured or if they don't have commercial insurance, I still work with a number of partners in the community to make sure that folks find their way to recovery.
And Anthony, can you tell the audience in closing, how can they get in contact with you? How can they also follow you on social media as well in regards to your services?
Sure. So my phone number is 973-981-3047. That's my personal cell phone number. It's everywhere online. There folks are welcome to call me anytime. I'm 24/7. If you would prefer to call directly to our mission center, our phone number is 1-800-RECOVERY. So it's a pretty easy number to remember. And then as far as social media, I'm on LinkedIn as Anthony Justo. I'm also on Facebook as Anthony Justo. And I would invite anybody to friend me or follow me, or not sure what the term is on LinkedIn, but yeah.
Connect. You can follow and connect.
Connect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for being on USL Lifestyle, where you live your life differently. And I hope you guys have learned something new on this episode. Make sure you send this video, this link to your family and friends, especially as we approach the holiday season. Let them know about the services that the Center of American Recovery Center has to offer to those who are in your community. Again, they have 10 locations throughout the United States. They have a lot of different services. They have a new PHP program that's coming out in 2023, and that's going to be for mental health. So if you're an adult over the age of 18, even if you're in high school, you're considered an adult at 18, this will be a great program for your loved ones as well. They accept New Jersey Medicaid, and they probably accept other state Medicaids as well through the other centers throughout the country. So all the information is going to be below this video. Make sure you go to their website. And of course, please follow Anthony Justo on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. If you have any questions, you don't feel comfortable, calling there yourself, you can just call him, leave him a message. He will get back to you in a timely manner, even if it's towards the holiday season as well. So thank you so much, Anthony, for being on our show. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you in 2023 as we go into the new year, so we can talk a little bit more about the mental health programs that you have designed for the Center of American Addiction Center, right? Am I saying it right? Or
Recovery Centers of America.
Recovery Centers of America. Sorry, guys. Recovery Centers of America. Thank you, guys, and I look forward to speaking to you guys soon. Take care and have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, Ayasha.